And that was our wonderful mobile journalists who have been scouring the city tonight, soaking up the atmosphere of Culture Night 2021. But for now, I'm absolutely thrilled to be joined by two of my gorgeous friends and two people you might know from the incredible Poz Vibes podcast. So we are now joined by Robbie Lawlor and Veda. Thank you so much for coming to join us tonight.
Thanks for having us.
You're looking fabulous.
Oh, thank you. Both of you are as well. I'm really twinning tonight.
Yeah, we're like witches.
We like to twin.
Yeah.
Anything for attention, we're like the J word of HIV.
They'll wish they have HIV by the end of this, I tell you.
Speaking of HIV, which we're kind of like here to talk about a little bit.
Not yet, right?
So obviously it's a very individual experience, but maybe you can answer me both individually, what it is like living with HIV in Ireland today.
Well, I guess we'll start off with the good things, because medically it is incredible, because we have access to the best medication out there. We always joke, it's saying it's one pill a day, but it's like taking a Tic Tac, it freshens your breath, because there's zero side effects. You probably heard of all the horrible side effects of AZT and the horrible things that made you go through, all protease inhibitors. But the new ones, one pill a day, I take it before I go to bed at night. And what it does is, it makes sure that I stay as healthy as anyone else, that I can live as long as anyone else.
And as beautiful as anyone else.
Yeah, it just gives you growth of hair in unneeded places. No, but
so does testosterone.
You are the wrong pill. But the other thing what it does is, and this is the most magical thing, is it gets the virus so low in my body. The HIV is sleeping in my body and in my semen that I cannot pass on HIV sexually because I am on effective treatment. So effectively, I'm the safest person to have sex with, not to pass on HIV to anyone. Like, I've a fella the last 7 years, he's HIV negative, and we don't need to wear condoms.
And he's very lovely, by the way.
And he's alright, he's beautiful. So medically, we're there. Yeah. Completely there. It's just stigma that's the issue.
For you, Veda, your experience.
My experience, I guess one of the things is Robbie just mentioned that people living with HIV experience a hell of a lot of stigma. It's actually probably the most stigmatizing health condition in the world. And that's the reason that we don't really have much of a community for people living with HIV. Yeah. And at the same time, HIV is one of the diagnoses that's most likely to have a very negative impact on your mental health and your general happiness, and which we all deserve to have a happy, shame-free life. So that's really why we're here, to talk about stigma and to encourage people who are in a position to, or are happy to talk about their HIV status, to join the party, to help us out, to be on our podcast, and to help us create the sea change that we're trying to create here in Dublin.
That is one of the reasons that you started the Poz Vibes podcast, is to try and, what's your term, smash stigma?
No, we're sledgehammers to stigma.
To stigma.
Do you know, before I met Veda, I was like, I always want to break the stigma. And then I met Veda, I was like, no, we want to destroy the stigma. We want to sledgehammer.
Take it one level up.
Exactly. Stigma shouldn't exist when it comes to HIV. And I suppose that's the goal of the Poz Vibes podcast.
So, Robbie, you just explained there about medications and how that, medications today can lower the viral load so low in your system that it's not detectable, which we have another term for. So Veda, do you want to explain a little bit about U equals U, what that means? U
equals U is the slogan that we use to describe that. Robbie and I made a fortune selling U equals U t-shirts.
Honestly, we capitalized on HIV. It was awful.
To help our podcast, of course, and we appreciate everybody's support. So what it means is, U equals U means undetectable equals untransmissible, which means that a person who is on effective medication can't give HIV to their loved ones, partners, sexual partners, whoever's enjoying
them. But that's wonderful. And the more we spread that information, the less stigma is going to be attached to HIV. And I have to say, I'm loving the Poz Vibes podcast. And what I'm also loving is seeing both of you. Like, I've known both of you quite a while, but seeing both of you come up through that. Now you're involved in different things, being invited onto television. Well, I know, Robbie, you have for a while been HIV activist, and Veda, you've come in just like a ball of fire to it. But being invited onto, television and radio and to talk about, living with HIV is not something we ever foresaw in Middle Ireland, even 5-10 years ago. Yeah. What's that been like all of a sudden, just being put in that kind of position where you are essentially the poster people for HIV in Ireland. Has it been difficult? Are you enjoying it?
We're loving it. We started out thinking this was going to be like a little project that we would do a couple of hours a week, and and that would be our activism and a way of platforming other voices. We had no idea that it was going to be such a roller coaster, but it's been amazing. And the most amazing thing is I haven't been as much in love with the queer community as I am right now in years, because the support that we get from the queer community is overwhelming, but also the support that we get from the wider community. I'm going to tell you a little bit of gossip right now. This week, Anne Doyle, the legend Anne Doyle, is coming to record our intros and our outros for our next season of our podcast.
What a queen.
And to do an interview with us about HIV in the media in Ireland.
She's going to be on the podcast. Can you imagine Anne Doyle?
Anne Doyle's always been a friend of the gay. She's always been on the gay bars with all the leather daddies and everything like that for years, like in the 80s and 90s.
That's why we want her on.
I want to know about the 80s
sorry,
and the
spoiler
90s.
alert.
Yeah, exactly. You ruined it on us.
But it's amazing. It's just another example of how amazing people are being. We also have international guests coming on, like we have Angina this week as well, who's like the first queen to come out about her status in RuPaul's Drag Race. And
That's
one of the
amazing.
first people to come out in that really big way.
Exactly.
So it's great to have those conversations, but we also have closer to home regular people like Robbie and I from the city and from other cities in the country, just telling their lives, their stories. And that's the most important thing to me, because they just become part of our tribe, part of our family. It's just a great experience, really, I think, for both of us.
And I think it's great what you're doing, and please continue doing what you do. You know that I love you dearly, both of you. And I know we are expecting a second season of Poz Vibes podcast, so everybody keep your ears and eyes open for that. But for now, thank you so much for joining us. It's been an absolute joy, as always, and I hope you get to enjoy what's left of Culture Night. But thank you so much again for both of you.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
And again, you look amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And now we are going to go to a few images that we have compiled over the course of Culture Night. So please do enjoy seeing the buzz around the city this Culture Night 2021. Thank you so much.